Let's talk about money. It's one of those topics, right? It can make even the smartest people feel anxious, confused, and sometimes just plain weird. But what if I told you there's a simple reason for all of it? Today, we're going to dive into some brilliant insights from author Morgan Housel to really understand the true goal of money and why our strange relationship with it might actually make a whole lot of sense.
It's a great question, isn't it? You see it all the time. Some people spend every single dollar they have, while others hoard it obsessively. And it's so easy for us to look at those choices and think, that's completely irrational. But according to Housel, there's a deeper logic at play here, one that explains just about everything.
This phrase right here is the key. It actually comes from the world of social work, and the idea is simple. It suggests that if you knew someone's full story, their upbringing, their struggles, their unique experiences, their actions would suddenly start to make sense. And you know what? This applies perfectly to our financial lives.
So what this really means is, you're not crazy. Your financial habits are a direct result of your personal history. Think about it. Whether you grew up during a recession or a boom, with a feeling of scarcity or abundance, all of it shapes you. So what seems like a foolish risk to one person is a totally logical move for another based on their life.
Okay, so once we get that, it brings us to this massive challenge in financial planning. We're all trying to save for a future version of ourselves, a person we haven't even met yet. It creates this fundamental conflict between who we are today and who we're going to become.
The great psychologist Daniel Kahneman said the most vital financial skill we can have is being able to anticipate what we'll regret most. Is it going to be not taking that trip or not having enough in savings? The problem is we are terrible at predicting this, mostly because our values and our desires, they change so much over time.
There's actually a powerful psychological bias that explains why we're so bad at this. It's called the end of history illusion. It's funny, right? We can all look back 10 years and see how much we've changed, our jobs, our tastes, our goals. But we tend to think that right now, today, we've pretty much arrived. We assume our future self is going to want the exact same things we want today. And that makes long-term planning incredibly tricky.
So, because we can't accurately predict our future selves, falling into financial extremes becomes a massive gamble. Housel points out two paths that are super common and, as it turns out, equally risky.
On one end of the spectrum, you've got the YOLO spender. You only live once, right? Who lives entirely for today. And on the other end, you have the fire saver. That stands for financial independence, retire early. This is the person who sacrifices nearly everything now for a future they might not even want when they get there. Both of these paths are just paved with a high probability of future regret.
The antidote to all this unpredictability is, you guessed it, avoiding the extremes. A balanced approach, moderation, gives your future self the one thing it needs most: options. It provides the flexibility to adapt as your goals, your family, and your desires inevitably change over time.
So if the extremes are the wrong path, what is the point of money? What's the goal? This is where we get to the absolute core of this whole idea, and it's all about reframing what we're actually working for. It's not about hitting some magic number in your bank account. It's definitely not about having the biggest house or the fastest car. Accumulating wealth for its own sake, that's a hollow goal. It's not the real objective here. Instead, think of money as a tool. That's all it is. It's a means to an end. And according to Housel, it's the most powerful tool we have for getting the two things that truly create a fulfilling life.
And here they are. It's that simple: independence and purpose. These are the real assets you're trying to acquire. Wealth is just a vehicle you use to get them. Let's break down what that actually means.
And let's be super clear about what independence means. It isn't about sitting on a beach doing nothing, unless that's what you want to do. It's about autonomy. It's the freedom to wake up and say, I can do whatever I want today. It's about choosing your work, your schedule, your priorities. It's about owning your own time.
This is such a powerful way to reframe the whole idea of saving. When you decide not to buy that expensive car or upgrade your house, that money isn't just sitting there doing nothing. You are actively spending it on something far more valuable: your own independence. You're literally purchasing your freedom piece by piece. So, how do we make sure we're actually using our money to chase what really matters? Well, there's one last powerful framework that can help guide every single one of our choices.
There was a gerontologist who interviewed over 1,000 people who had lived past 100 years old. When they looked back on their long lives, not a single one of them said, "I wish I'd worked harder to make more money." But almost every single person said, "I wish I had spent more time with the people I love."
And that gets to the heart of this incredible idea: the difference between your resume virtues and your eulogy virtues. Our society pushes us constantly to chase those resume virtues, the job titles, the income, the degrees. But what truly gives a life meaning, what people actually remember you for, those are your eulogy virtues, your kindness, your relationships, your character.
Warren Buffett actually offers this brilliant little mental exercise. He says to think about what you would want people to say about you at the end of your life, what you want your obituary to say. And then work backwards to make sure your daily actions, your financial goals, and your priorities are all aligned with that vision.
And that brings it all together, doesn't it? The ultimate goal of money is to give you the independence and the flexibility to build a life that's rich in eulogy virtues. It's the tool that lets you spend time with your kids, contribute to your community, and be the friend, the parent, or the partner you truly want to be.
In the end, it really all comes down to this one simple but incredibly powerful question. Money is just a tool. Think of it like one of the pens you use to write the story of your life. So the real question you have to ask yourself is, what kind of story do you want to write?